morning, everyone. Michael here from Seattle, Washington. It is Friday, and every Friday, I take the time, from my tight schedule, busy schedule, to share with you about FDI, right? Foreign direct investment into the U.S. And so today, we're gonna pick a topic that about that between immigration to the USA and then commercial real estate, right? So I started the modern living company. Um, I got involved in real estate in 1998. At an agent, going out there helping the client to with real estate need and mortgage. So, managed done over 3,000 helping 3,000 transactions, helping over 3,000 customers in the process. So, so then the market is changing in 2008, 2009. That the last market that happened, that collapse, that very severe, right? For example, in the state of Washington, where we located, we have over 24 out of the 28 community bank that got shut down by the FDIC, right? And that also leading to the collapse of, Washington Mutual, and Lehman Brothers and the whole market. So so at the time, when the market were there were no capital that available in the marketplace, and I wanted to continue to invest, and I wanted to continue to help my client, right, to invest in real estate. So I involved in the foreign direct investment. It's called EB5 program, right? So I went ahead and established an EB5 program with the EB5 Regional Center, and later on it got approved by the later it had approved by the federal government. The U.S. CIS and Department of Homeland Security approved for the regional center to operate it. So that a little bit more in depth that I wanted to share with you. So the modern living company concept, the modern living development, and the co-op program were founded in 2008, right? It's gonna help the local builder and investor to finance commercial project, right? And make use we can call that residential or commercial, because in today's market, as you know, the shopping center, it's just purely commercial. It's no longer a working model, right? So a lot of projects right now in the market that really working in the apartment and the mixed use. So we are going through the process of changing now. So this means residential and commercial combined. So the idea will create a better co-op development model alongside with the real estate technology platform and the trusted, U.S. Asia Pacific EB5 U.S. Federal Approved Regional Center, right, to serve the marketplace, to serve the customer. So, the obvious part of the mission was very clear, right? Back then there's no bank. As you can see, entire U.S. market in 2007, 2008, and 2009, all the way until 2011, the capital market was dried up, right? Bank not lending, right? So we go into another pandemic, market recession right now, and you're probably going to feel the same way. We can feel the same way already. You see a lot of major banks, starting to shut down lending, especially for like real estate, commercial, hospitality, and shopping center, right? So, but it's not going to be as severe as the last one. This recession is created by health crisis, right? By coronavirus. You know, uh, but the last market were mainly on the mortgage on a subgram, you know, on the it started with real estate, right? So actually, it's residential real estate that started the residential real estate and mortgage that create the last big, you know, historical recession that we experienced. So so the bank, you know, whenever you in the situation like that, the banks it really, you know, the bank have a significant challenge to lend into the builder, you know, due to but the last market were very the bank local bank is really constrained by the FDIC, right? If you want to look at like 25 banks in the state of Washington that got shut down, that including Citibank of Linwood, Frontier Banks, and you know all this bank that local that got shut down by the FDIC. So the federal is really constrained on lending in the marketplace. So you know I wanted to help the builder, you know, to find more financing, right? That producing a better result, you know. So that's why, you know, we went outside the U.S. and looking for capital for the project. So I involved with, you know, regional center as a broker, you know, go and promoting project in the U.S. and helping the local project here, financing, you know, project can build, it creating more housing, it creating more tax for the municipality, you know, it's created housing for the community, right? You know, all types of benefit that you know that can happen when the project of real estate get entitled, developed, built, right? So you know that was the idea of me trying to do that program, and that's what the FDI, you know, foreign direct investment idea come into play. So I learned from great people that's my mentor in the business right here locally, that helping me with you know the program. So you know building on the track record of the 3,000 transaction, you know, since 1998, you know, in marketing, brokerage, and mortgage. So we partner with many great company. You know, I own and operated Windermere in the past, right? And Windermere Builder Services, you know, helping builder to entitle, develop, and marketing. And then later on, you know, we move into the partnership with Prudential Real Estate and Global Relocation, which is with the same purpose is reaching out to cross border, right? Reaching out to the foreign market by bringing investor into the market, you know, helping them to invest for a great return, and then for also, you know, obtaining the U.S. citizenship. So that's the whole purpose of that. And so, you know, today, MLC Real Estate, you know, today MLC Real Estate Organization is proud to become, you know, one of the you know leading you know real estate investment and development and financing firm with you know over 20 years of experience. So, but you know what I share with you is that because I came from Vietnam, you know, I see the challenge of the immigrant that migrated to the U.S. My dad is a U.S. Marine in South, yet worked with the U.S. military in the South Vietnam before 1975. So you know, I escaped Vietnam to China in 1989 during the Tiananmen Square and make my way to Hong Kong in the Christmas of 1989. You know, I got myself, they arrested me and put me in the detention center over in Hong Kong, you know, during this time. So 2.5 years, I was in Sha Tin, I was in Tai Châu, and then I was in, Hong Kong detention center. So finally make my way to the Philippines back in 1991, right? So in the Philippines, I also stay in the detention center. Then later on, I got approved by the U.S. government because of our family record with the U.S. government before 1975. So I moved over to Seattle. So my background over the last 32 years, been away from home, been away from Vietnam, right? And so as an immigrant that tried to get to the USA, right? And then getting to the USA, I started, the real estate, back in 1998, So because of my experience as an immigrant, how to struggle to come to the US, right? As an immigrant, right? And then get involved in real estate and real estate investment, commercial. I would like to see the concept of commercial real estate and immigration, how do we marry both two together and one that create job, opportunity, municipality taxes, for the county, and then, and creating job for American here locally, and a way that help the economy to grow. Then look at the investor, my client coming from Vietnam, coming from China, coming from, many parts of Asia right now have a problem, right? So you see, like, I talk to people from Hong Kong, my friend from Hong Kong, there everybody wanted to move out of there, but they, and the U.S. is always the place for people to come. Everybody look at the U.S. just like the beacon of the world. People want to come here, despite all the challenge the U.S. immigration policy, for the immigrant, right? So that's how the concept of commercial real estate married with immigration combined. But I can tell you one thing today, where we sit in we have this FDI, foreign direct investment into our community. It's a big program. Like for example, in Seattle, Washington, we have over $1.8 billion, foreign investor invest through this EB5 program, right? So it's a great program, but the good news is 92% of the investor that invest over $1.8 billion into Seattle and Puget Sound community is in commercial real estate, right? Hotel, mixed use, right? So the program is work, and the program is work great, right? The question here is, if it is a $6.8 billion industry, right? We together with the PPP, right? Private public partnership, we can create, 600 billion or even $6 trillion through a program, because I do really believe that the USA is a country of immigrants, right? And our founding father founded the country based on the immigration concept. And back in the 18th and 19th century, we have the majority of immigrants that migrated from Europe, right? And then from Africa, whether volunteer or not volunteer, but that was the 18th and 19th century. But today, we have, over 90% of immigrants that come into the U.S. from Asia, right? So the immigrant, we in the U.S., right? We have over 102 million immigrants. So this is the country of immigrants, and so the concept that's why the concept works so well. That's why I'm really supportive. I'm so excited about being part of the solution, for the U.S. to grow the economy and bring in the right kind of immigrant into the country, right? So let me kind of share with you so I established the company, the regional center, and get involved back in like 2008, right? So we got some great project, right? We got Seattle Modern Living project that have over 600 unit apartment mixed use and 150 unit hotel, So the typical project like that. And we got great program with education for broker overseas can learn the U.S. investment system. That's why we share with you through Advanced Business Workshop every Tuesday, right? Knowledge equal confidence, ignorance equal fear, right? So, the more you learn, the more you will earn. Brian Tracy say that, time and time again, right? Warren Buffett, USA, Warren Buffett say, you do not bet against America, right? And I truly believe that America is a great country. It's a beacon. It's a place for the people around the world to come here and call home. People like myself, right? And people in the community. Yeah. So I'm excited to share with you this program. So so the so we're very forward-thinking real estate organization. We think that our business is about our people, our community, our investor, our employee, and our community, right? So, I look and say, what is the investment model that win-win for everyone, And I look at this investment model and I say, if I look at the deal, I look at the transaction and say, is it a transaction that really a win-win transaction? Win-win for the community that we're gonna get job and get taxes for the municipality. Win-win for the investor because they got the return on investment, and then they got the U.S. citizenship, right? Look at it, how hard it is for me, and my family to try to escape Vietnam and come to America. It took about 4 years in Asia before we come to the U.S. And my father in the U.S. and U.S. partner ally in the military, right? So it is very extremely hard to get to the U.S. But people still wanted to come here. So this great program is for that, right? So what we do, I look at a win-win transaction. Win-win for the contractor that create thousands of jobs, indirect job and direct job to the in-plan model, right? Economic model. And it's win-win for folk because we create more housing in the community, right? So I look at it is a win-win transaction, right? So what we do at the company that combining all the 22 years of real estate experience, we are a full service real estate investment and development management company, right? We know what to do, and we've been helping client and investor over 67 transactions of the investment development in the past, right? So we know financing, we know real estate, and we know the immigration process. Why? Look at me. I am one of the product, right? Right? So, I can share with you my experience about that. So what we do is that we acquire and we develop and we build asset for investor, right? So not just the regular investment, but we force the investment through the appreciation, to the use change, to the zoning change, right? We do the value added. What can we do to make the asset to appreciate it more? 20%, 25% IRR, cash on cash return, right? We'll look at it and say we have a great track record of doing this, right? And so, if you really think about investing with us, check us out, right? Look at our track record, in terms of return for investment. We sure gonna help you to increase equity, increase cash flow, increase value, put more money, in your pocket as an investor by you investing with us, right? So, for the investor out there. And plus we have really good market too, Seattle, Washington. So, we value add on the property, we enhancing and we creating more cash flow. We don't, we really don't buy the property for what it is. We buy the property for the higher and the best use, right? We buy the property for what it can be, for not what they are, and that's how I look at it too. I look at myself. Yesterday I was a refugee from Vietnam, that didn't know a soul, didn't have a job, that have no money, that could help nobody, that couldn't know how to speak English, right? But I look at myself for what the person I wanted to be. I want to be a great person that can be a value for the community, right? That can make a positive impact on the life of so many others surrounding me, including my employee, in my community, my country that I live in, right? Be a contributor, to the country that you live in, right? So, and that's the same concept with investment too, that, I don't look at things for what it is. I look at things for what it can be. What would be the highest value, right? But that's why I created, advanced business workshop where I trained over 146 entrepreneur, right? So I look at them in the eye and I say, you can be a bigger person, right? You can be a bigger person if you incorporate the system, right? That you can, that you can grow your business. But facing it, if you want to earn more, you have to learn more, right? The system, it never failed, right? So look at that and say, I look at the project the same way. I look at, what would be the higher and the better value, right? And then go through a process and enhancing it. Despite the market up, the market down. We do not control the market. We only control what we do. We will control what we invest. How we gonna run an investment deal, right? That generate, great outcome for our investor. And that's the whole point, right? So that's how we are the country. So you can be really good at what you do, but you don't have the market, and that's gonna be challenge. But we live right here in the USA, and the market is very strong. I mean, we're right here in Washington State, right? So the market is very strong, and Washington State is one of the leading state in the U.S. And so I'm here for 22 years. They always say, well, you put the old investor is always say, well, you put money where your mouth is, and then we invest in Washington State, and we've been doing that for 22 years in investment development and management, right? So Seattle is a great market, right? And so Seattle growing, with booming market economy, right? Amazon, $1 trillion company, create massive amount of jobs. Microsoft is another $1 trillion company, So we can see through the window and measure by, the growth of the area and the market here. So, and then, the urban growth is more environmental, sustained, more than a suburban sprawl. It's bringing challenge, right? Bringing a lot of challenge. And so, this, so we do a lot of redevelopment in Seattle. The reason I'm saying redevelopment, we recycle the land, right? And because most of the land in Seattle is already built, right? And so you have to go through a redevelopment, by using the existing land, we just make it better use for it, right? So we're looking at a big picture, local market, strong market, many global company, and I will look at it and say it's about location, and location, right? So with that, gonna bring into the good location that where you see, company like Microsoft, company like Boeing, company like Amazon, company like Nordstrom, company like Costco that started here, and Starbucks Coffee, Expedia, right? So location, marry with a great return for the investment, and operated by an experienced operator, that, my friend, that create a good investment, right? So, we do source a new project, we do architect, we work with great design team, right? We'll go into the permitting and planning the process. We partner with, great land development that develop very, challenging project in the area. And, we're helping with the pre-sale marketing, right? Integrated, cooperative approach, that increase builder productivity, right? And, and then, we reduce the risk for our investor, right? Because we really know the market. Yeah, so real estate holding, that's another one to looking at it. We invest into what we know the best, right? So into the full cycle, so user investment, and financing, So the one that I wanted to share with you is the investing in the EB5 and what it needed, right? So we've been around for over 20 years, so that we know what we do, right? So with the regional center program, and let me kind of share with you, what would it take to invest into the EB5 program? The EB5 program is approved, established, and approved by the U.S. Congress back in 1993. So we have to know this program. It's approved by the not Department of Homeland Security, but it's by the U.S. Congress, right? So, so you know, I thought, I started, EB5 Regional Center investment to support the community, building housing, creating jobs, and bring in the investor, for since 2007, working with different projects, right? Different area. So the the regional center, U.S. is a Pacific Investment Regional Center, is the U.S. immigration approved regional center and owned and operated by us, right? So what we strive to support the U.S. Non-U.S. citizen, our client, from Europe, our client from Asia, our client from China, our client from Vietnam, our client from Korea, to migrate it to the U.S. to the EB5 real estate immigration investment program, right? So utilize the program to help individual and family that wish to live here in the U.S. to gain the permanent residence status. And so, as you can see, over 225,000 Vietnamese that live in the state of Washington, right? And if you can see, company over here in Seattle, Washington, company like Amazon and Microsoft, we have most of those companies have a lot of those workers that from India, they on the H-1B visa. And over 700,000 H-1B visa holder in the U.S., right? So all the client need the service, and for those clients that live here in the USA, whether H-1B visa or student visa, for example, we have over University of Washington have over 33% of the total student is the international student and immigrant, right? So we know the need, whether it's offshore or in the U.S., is there the need for the consumer, right, to get involved and get their permanent visa. Because right now, if you work for Apple or you work for Google, you work for Microsoft, you work for Amazon, your resident status stay here in the U.S. is as good as the work visa, right? The moment you lose your job, you got laid off, then you got, and I know, your days, you have a limited amount of time to leave the U.S., to leave the country, right? If you don't have a job. So want to provide this American investment opportunity for those that need it, right? Then, I wrote down that we offer the resource, to help the family to adapt to a new country, including education, immigration process, right? And anything that we can do to help. But we got really good team about investment team. We got great legal team that handling the immigration process for the investor, right? And we got really sales and service team that can help with real estate and financing, for the investor when they come to the U.S., right? So the whole purpose here is to invest, get great return, get the U.S. citizenship, right? So I work with really great partner like Mr. Mike Madden from Asset USA, for that continue, been in business for too long, dozens of years, and they still strive to, helping more people to invest and migrate to the U.S. Yeah. So the purpose is the passport. With the U.S. passport, it gives you a lot of options, right? So But for the, if we were to invest or our client wanted to invest in the, invest and utilize the the FDI, foreign direct investment, EB5 financing, whether it's going to be an equity, whether it's going to be a loan, right? Right? But it's going to be what model do you have? We can help the client with the project and make that into the approval project. So there, the the role of the regional center, it's allow the project to, it allow the project, right? Allow the project of your client can you utilize the regional center and bring in the EB5 investment into the project, right? So really, without the regional center approval, you really cannot do it, right? So the, due diligence, underwriting the project, only from the sponsor, the track record for the sponsor, but bring a specific financial and the immigration risk, criteria. So what would be the financial risk, right? The project capitalization, right? Project capital stack, right? The escrow structure, the project market feasibility study, determine about location, determine, a project is feasible, determine the project is buildable, and be determine the project is sellable or rentable, right? So we have to make sure the project is, feasible for the project to come in, not just for the sake of bringing the project. We, when we bring in the project and helping to promote and financing the project, we really have to know the whole picture of the project, for the, for our client, for our investor who wish to invest and migrate to the US, right? So the EB5 investor prepayment strategy. So if that funding put into the project, whether it's loan, equity, what would be the prepayment plan, right? So then look at the other investor invest into the EB5 regional center program. They have to be, how about the investment factor of it? We're very experienced in commercial real estate and development and finance. We'll make sure that we get really great, great project, for our client to invest it in. So we can work together in this one. But then how about immigration risk with some, because the goal for the foreign investor, for the people like me, for example, that come into the U.S., the immigration factor, the American dream, the American U.S. citizenship, it's vital. It's very important. And that's the reason why we invest, right? That's the reason why we invest. I mean, I always tell my investor over in Vietnam, in China, in overseas, that come to America, you have to pay the price. I pay my price, as a refugee, right? Or even like, my dad in the U.S. military for over 18 years. So you gotta, investor have to pay some type of price to come to the U.S., right? So, but the most important thing is to get in the U.S. citizenship, U.S. visa, right? So, looking at the immigration rate factor and job creating assumption, right? Very important, right? Job creation, how many job indirect and direct per project, right? And then, economic methodology, based on the implant business model, how many job indirect and direct job that the JCE, the project can create, 10 jobs per investor, right? So what would be the deal structure, right? What would be the deal structure? And, how is the company gonna run? How is the company gonna run during the construction, after the project built and the stabilized, right? So we gotta see the whole concept of the business plan and project completion, and the operation. Who operating it, right? When it is completed, what kind of projection, what kind of financing, what kind of income, right? That go directly into the project. And then looking at the project sponsor and reporting the capacity. So as you can see, we conduct understanding the affiliation of the project required to determine the whether or not the project is qualified, right? So then, to complete the project documentation, then as you can see, as you can see, then, you got, EB5 regional centers here, you have our clients here, right? So what would be the process, the correct process to be able to coming up with uh, the legal documentation that approved, right? So of course, we got fantastic team that we work with, immigration attorney, right? Top-notch immigration attorney that really have a lot of experience and a track record. We work with security attorney, somebody really know about security, right? And dealing with it, right? So I always say that yeah. So security is serious matter. In the state of Washington, I'm you know yeah. So I holding designated broker license, over the 15 years in the state of Washington. I holding the associate license in the state of Washington with the Department of Licensing, right? So I'm also holding the instructor license with the Department of Education, right? So all my decade of real estate, I'm always been held accountable by public sector, right? So make sure that, but the FCC and the USCIS is a federal government. So comply, do it right, and do it from the beginning, right? So job creation economic, determine how many jobs based on the plan that we can create out of the project. Look at bringing the feasibility consultant, right? Bringing the feasibility consultant into the project. Yeah. So what would be so we assemble a complete, reasonable offering document for the project that including the master master of whole compliant business plan, and then economic impact with the job creation analysis, right? Immigration legal component, provide leading immigration counsel, the project documentation review, the I-924, and then the I-526 form cover letter, security legal component, right? So loan document for the project, offering memorandum, PPM, then automatic subscription agreement, and and then limited partnership agreement. As you can see, it's a complete project documentation that we're ready for the project, for your client project, to get on the market and helping the foreign client or the domestic client to to obtaining U.S. citizenship or converting the existing student visa H-1B visa to a permanent visa. Ultimately, the goal here to get the green card and U.S. citizenship, right? And so with that with that information I'm sharing with you today, I hope that you can learn from it and look at this strategy in the market today and say, what, as a professional real estate, what can we do to expand in our market, to foreign investor, right? And as a project builder, as a developer, even as a lender, as a loan officer, right? And we'll look at the alternative program to get equity for the project, because the catch here is getting the equity, right? But I talked to one of my clients, say, how many homes do you want to purchase? And she say that, well, I can, as long I can afford to purchase, I'll purchase, right? So, but the thing with one here, that you go to the bank, you buy a home, the bank probably going to ask you to put up a down payment, right? Whether it's going to be a 10%, 20%, or 30%. It's similar thing with investing, right? So if you wanted to do more project for your company, for your institution, then you need to find a way to get more equity, right? So that you can expand in your business. So with that, I hope that I got a lot great more information, on the degree 2-day scam that will be hosted monthly on the third week of every single month. we're hosting a 2-day training, right? So that way we're gonna go in depth about this type of program. This are a foreign direct investment program, right? And so that's gonna be a 2-day training. So we provide that, one. Actually, we only provide that one a year, So, have any question about that? Feel free to contact our office. And with that, I appreciated you taking the time, from your schedule and watching this program today. And have a great one. Thank you.